Hello and welcome back to another episode of Transport Fever 2. As we can see here, our bus lines are continuing to move forward as we set them up in the last episode. Here we have tons of people waiting for some lines. That's all good. Some of these buses are stuck in traffic, but they'll slowly make their way through, and as traffic cools down, since there's more passenger traffic moving around, it should just sort of help itself get better continually. Alright, so what I want to do in this episode is take a look at Corpus Christi, redo the bus paths around here to help out with this traffic here coming across the bridge. So if we could just clear up this end in this video, that would be great. I'm not too sure if we're ever going to be able to clear this up until we get better trains, but I think at least working on this side of the bridge will help out a lot more in terms of how many people use this bridge. So first, as always, we're going to come through and delete all of the bus stops around the city. Make sure we're not really destroying anything else. There we go. So now we can come in here, clear out some of these roads. And now we have space for a bus station. So we'll get a bus station in here, give it plenty of room, and we'll place it just like this. So that should work out just fine on this road. Here we're gonna have, I'd say, 3 loops. One over here, one for this side of the tracks, and then a bigger one that sort of covers everything over here. So let's get these stops down real quick. Make sure that we're gonna cover everywhere that we need to. And we wanna keep it off of this main road that cuts through the city, just because that'll start to really hold up a lot of our buses, and that's not what we want happening. So there's that loop there, and then coming out of the bus station, I think we'll want to run it along this side a little bit, and then we'll bring it through this whole industrial area, back around, through here, and all the way down here. So then that can just simply loop around, and we should have everything covered on that end. Then lastly, we only need a few bus stations or bus stops over here. And I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna delete this road, and even if we give it a few seconds and this boat moves out of the way, we can move this out of the way a little bit more and get a bigger road running here along the river. So now we can delete this, and we'll just replace it real quick. Actually, let's get a road through here first. And it looks like we're gonna have to basically cut it back all the way to there. But now we can come through, add it in like that. And then once we clean up these roads, we can get it to connect back into the city where it was before. So now we can place this with little issue. All we need to make sure is that it's connecting to the road. So that's good. And when we hit play, this should... It looks like it already did just automatically replace that. So we'll get a bus stop in here for the boat. And then we'll just follow this small road to the end, where it'll loop back to the train station. So as usual, we'll come in and remove all the existing stops and replace it with the ones we just put in. We'll grab a few more buses, start at the station again, and bring it around the other way. Make sure we're hitting them in the order that we placed them, just so we get a nice, perfect loop when it's finished. That looks pretty good. We'll do that. That line's all set up. And for our last line, we probably only need 8 buses. We're not covering too big of an area here below the train station, but we are handling trips to the passenger harbor here, so it is important to have a little bit of ability to move that many people. Since we can see here, well, at least one person's coming here. So looking here at Clearwater and Alexandria, we really see a lot of light blue, which is exactly what we want to see. Alexandria is hardly getting used except for this road here that comes out from Huntsville. But other than that, a lot of the other side streets are pretty lightly used. Clearwater, we still have issues with that main road connecting to Louisville, and of course coming out to the bridge is going to be pretty much the main form of travel for a lot of people. But everywhere else in Clearwater seems pretty empty. And even if we pull up our traffic layer, it's really only the main road through Clearwater that's bad. Alexandria is almost pretty much clear everywhere, except for where you have to make some railroad crossings, but those are somewhat unavoidable. So checking around at some of our more recent upgrades, line 58 here has tons of people waiting, and it seems like a lot of people waiting almost at every stop around here. So I think even with 12 vehicles, we could probably afford maybe even up to 4 more on here. I mean, if these buses are traveling pretty much full everywhere, they should be making us money if we can find any of these. Yeah, so this one's making us a profit. It's probably always running full, so if they're running full, we might as well put more buses on. And that's exactly what we did. So hopefully we'll see this drop down, which will allow for more people to come to this station here. And while we have space, we might as well add a little bit more capacity before this whole area gets built up. But anyway, it looks like some of this traffic is starting to clear up. Over here is still a bit of a mess, but we're starting to see sort of the end of traffic for people that are taking the bridge across. Hopefully this road coming into Bridgeport will start to clear up any minute now. But while we wait for these to clear up and sort of really fulfill their full potential, we can take a look here at our line statistics and begin to work out things that aren't really working. So obviously our first line that's really losing us money is this line here, the one that's moving steel for us. And I'm wondering why that is. We might want to take a look and see if maybe these planes keep having to abort their landings, or maybe it's just not a profitable line. So we'll just have to take a look here This plane's coming in for a landing real quick, so we'll be able to see how much money it makes off of one load, and it might just be like a time thing, but we'll take a look at it as this plane comes in, because this line here is extremely profitable and it comes in fairly regularly, which is confusing since these airports are almost the same distance, if not the planks are farther away, yet the steel line is the one that is sort of suffering in this situation. Alright, so we have our plane full of steel coming in here right now, and let's take a look and see how much money it gets from this. So this plane makes 3.6 million for every full load it brings. So I'm just wondering why one of these is making a lot of money and the other one isn't. It could just be that we have too many planes running here, and it looks like a lot of them are leaving half empty. So maybe if we get rid of one, or maybe even two, so if we get rid of one more, maybe then we can start to get more full loads of steel coming out of here. As we can see, there's not too much demand here, and we can see it's all getting transported anyway. So we'll give that a little bit of time to go through. And if we take a look at the wood line and why it's doing so well, it only has 6 planes on it. So here, this one now has 5. So we'll see. Alright, so while I was checking some other lines, I noticed this Bridgeport oil refinery is starting to downgrade because it's not producing oil since it thinks nothing needs it. And I think it's been so long since an oil truck has sent oil over here that it sort of broke the link between the two. So, in order to just sort of save this whole issue, we've been dealing with traffic here this whole time, I think we need to find a oil refinery closer to this chemical plant so we can continue to provide the resources that it needs. And luckily for us, right down the road is an oil refinery. So, if we find it, upgrade this road, we can place a new truck station right in here that we can now bring oil to. Let's just put it at the end of the road. So now we can bring oil in here and it'll get shipped out right over here to the chemical plant. Now the next thing we need to do is just manage the line, get rid of the stop in Bridgeport, and add the one over here. And then we can just grab this chemical line, manage it, take it away from Bridgeport, and move it like this. So hopefully that'll bring back the link in this supply chain, which now it looks like it did. This is starting to produce a lot more. All these trucks are now leaving Bridgeport, which will hopefully clear up this area. And pretty soon, once trucks start arriving, hopefully we'll see this start to produce some oil. So now that all of our trucks are cleared out of this area, we can delete that truck stop, delete this road, and hopefully that'll be another step in the right direction in terms of fixing traffic on this road. Alright, and as we can see here, we have our first of our oil trucks coming over to the oil refinery here. I just want to make sure that we still have enough trucks on each line to be consistently bringing in fuel, which it looks like we have enough bringing to the oil refinery. And I just want to make sure we don't have too many moving oil to the chemical plant. Since it's a much shorter distance, we don't need as many vehicles running that route. Alright, and just to verify that this does work, we are starting to see some production of oil, and we see it waiting here on the chemical line that's waiting to just come over here. So that's good. Now that we got that sorted out, we can get back to fixing some of our lines. Alright, so coming around to some more lines that need fixed, we have this one here that doesn't really carry that many people. It doesn't seem like it's really working out or making a profit at all. And there's a few people waiting each time. I just don't think there's enough demand for 3 trains on this single line. I think it is important to keep it since people are clearly using it, so it is needed in some capacity. But I do think we could probably afford to get rid of the other 2 vehicles on this line. That'll lower the frequency, but hopefully that'll mean that there'll be more people waiting each time it comes around. And now time for the next line that I think we need to sort out is these 2 river loop trains that we have them on. They are really close to making a profit now. However, if we take a look at some of the trains, we can see a lot of them are running pretty much full, which is a good sign. However, it means we are probably losing a little bit of money on people that get missed. And if we look here in Victorville, there are tons of people waiting to leave Victorville. And checking some of these other lines, some of these are very in-demand loops. So, I think all we really need to do with each of these is to just add on 2, I'd say probably two more passenger cars. Just tack them onto the end, and we'll see what kind of effect that has. I don't think we have any new, faster cars here, so we'll stick with these, and we'll get 2 more on each train. So hopefully this doesn't cause issues in our turnaround locations. It doesn't look like we'll have any issues, at least immediately. And then we'll do the same thing for trains on the other side of the line, or running the other direction. So we'll go around, get all these, and we'll replace those. Alright, now I think that's pretty much going to be it for trains that are losing us, or vehicles that are losing us a lot of money. We were able to cut down into what was the main issues. We still have some pretty big issues here, as we can see with all of these trains, but these are sort of livable at the moment, and we'll be able to at least improve on them over the next couple of episodes as we continue looking at them. On the other side, though, we do have some trains that are making us tons of money, and that's sort of exactly what we want to see from them. And these lines are really the ones that are making up for all of the other ones that are losing us money. Alright, so that's going to be pretty much all for this episode. So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions or feedback, leave a comment below. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.